Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Israel is the reason for this war. America does not want to fight this war for Israel.
Let's go. Come on, let's go.
America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel. Your inability to name that shows your ineptness as leaders. Out. This is wrong. Stop. And nobody wants to fight for Israel.
A reminder to all our
Commandant, please stand up as a Marine and stand up for America. Out. No one wants to fight for Israel. His hand. Oh my God. Out. No one wants to fight for Israel.
His hand. Oh, his hand.
Sir. Let go of your hand. Let go of the door. Let go of the door.
The senator broke his hand. A sitting U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine.
Sir.
Control your Senate.
We're stuck in the door. Okay, sir.
A U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine. Hand's stuck. A U.S.
You know, I keep being told that this guy is pro-Hamas and he's pro. And I said I was going to start this with this. And I want to come back to how they treated the J6ers on January 6th, that they shot into the crowd good people. And they shot and they provoked and they created, they had FBI agents there because they wanted to create a narrative that they knew wasn't true. And there's this guy, Joe Sheely, on my Facebook page. It's like pro a candidate. And he's like, you got some explaining to do. And he writes this whole thing about the radical left. So the radical left says, Joe, this is what you said. And I'm thinking to myself, well, none of that's true. Two things can be true at the same time. We can have allies, and we can also recognize that Americans are being stepped over and treated as slaves. And this man was a U.S. Marine. And I want to just ask you a question. It's a simple question. And you don't have to agree, by the way, with his stance, that he stands up for Palestinians. By the way, last year, this is the same soldier that watched as IDF soldiers shot people as they were trying to get access in the Gaza to humanitarian aid. He was there. He became a whistleblower for it. And he said in a video, I was watching the video, he said in a video that, look, I wasn't much for, I didn't really understand the geopolitical deal. He didn't really have an opinion until he saw that. That for sport, they were shooting Palestinians that were trying to get to humanitarian aid. I have Palestinian friends. I have Jewish friends. There's another thing this Joe Shelley guy said. He said, I'm anti-Semitic. Again, the same dog whistles that most of Americans are tired of. And they go after people like Tucker Carlson. They go after people like Candace Owens. And they said, anti-Semite, anti-Semite. And the people that stand up that have, you call it Jewish blood in them, They become betrayers. But you have guys like Bibi Netanyahu with ice in his veins. Doesn't give a shit about his own people. And he certainly doesn't give a crap about anybody in this country. But you got the political apparatus of our country that stands up and says, if you oppose what they're doing and killing other people, you are an anti-Semite. I am not an anti-Semite. I'm not a racist. I'm not a homophobe. I am none of those things. And if you want to call me those things, you can just fuck off. I used to tell people when I was over in the Middle East and Africa that, you know, I'm just for humanity. I'm for this side. I'm for your side. And the reason why people trusted me in so many situations is that I didn't take a side. That is not how Americans, that is not how Marines should be treated, but that's not how an American should be treated. But let me ask you this. When radical leftists interrupt things and they break into rooms, break into and disrupt things and cause all these protests and wreak havoc, are they treated the same way? I don't know how to reconcile what just happened. And I'm not going to try. I'm not going to say that this is how everyone is treated, but I can tell you right now, I remember in 2020 when we were on the streets and Antifa was out there and the police didn't do anything to them, but came back to us and said, we'll do something to you. Until we had density, we had 40, 50, 60 people, and we were like, man, we're pro-police. And frankly, it's hard to be pro-police when police are standing against the very thing that they say they're sworn to protect, which is the people. So we would bang heads with Antifa, UADF, and they said we ran a militia. And it was like a bad name. And I'm thinking to myself, I kept talking to Tig about it. And I go, Tig, they're calling us a militia. And they're not saying anything. The media and the police were saying nothing. These are people, by the way, in the police department that the Antifa, DSA, pieces of trash would show up. They would show up literally at a police station with chains, gasoline, and locks. So they could lock the people inside of the police station. This happened until we showed up. And the police were on their side. I mean, so we got a judiciary that's run by a bunch of cartels. It's as if they're like, yeah, they weren't really going to burn it down. They just brought it for effect. And I think about what they did in so many other states and how much we as Americans have put up with over the last 6 years. We put up with a lot. I'm done putting up with it. This is how Americans are treated. We have two guests today. I just want to point out that it was a Republican senator that was helping cops remove the veteran, Tim Sheehy. Both sides are ramming through all of their special interests and jamming it down our throat. Congress yesterday voted to kill a bill that shows reports of sexual harassment claims about members of Congress. They're like, you can't have access to it. Both parties did that. The vote was 357 to 65. Only 65 members of Congress voted yes for transparency on these records. Only 65. Can you imagine what kind of person you would have to be to hide information from the American people? And the people that voted yes, are listed, I believe, right? Those are the 65 people that voted. 357 said they wanted to delay it. Virginia Giuffre died because she had no more faith in the judiciary and the fact that we'd get to the bottom of the Epstein files. And here's Representative Luna that was speaking about this hearing specifically. Let's go ahead and play it.
Luna.
All right. I support Representative Mace's subpoena here, as well as the amendment to it. And I just think it's really disgusting how this institution protects itself, because y'all just half of them voted to send this stuff to House Ethics, where you know it's going to die. We know that members of Congress are using taxpayer dollars to pay off sexual harassment. We just had a member of Congress literally sexually harass a woman that then lit herself on fire, and you guys all protected him. Yep. You guys all protected my own side, your side. And so if you guys want to talk about victims, if you want to go out and virtue signal, and then you guys are going to kill her stuff on the floor and then try to pass it, yeah, of course we should subpoena all of this stuff. But just, I'm not going to sit here and play games. I think it's a complete fraud. I think that's why the American people hate us. I think the midterms are coming up and everyone should go on record for this. And I hope that members are exposed for this. I hope it goes back, I think, to the 70s, because it's wrong that it's happening. It's wrong that we cover up for it. It's wrong that we can't censure our own side because people are busy making deals because you guys don't want to censure your side. It's a deal that's been cut and people hate us for it. So yeah, I support it.
Thank you, Representative.
Chair recognizes Mr. B.
And then she went on to talk more about the fact that the left and the right both support both sides. It is kabuki theater. Look, I don't give a shit. If you are a sexual abuser and it's been proven, you're out. You're out. You got someone inside of Congress, a woman lit herself on fire. That actually happened. And they covered it up. But Mace had something else when talking about the investigation into Ilhan Omar of her fraud and incest. It should have been an easy deal. Did you commit a freaking crime or not? And if you did, you got to go. Yo, you got to go. Go ahead, let's play it.
Congresswoman, where do we stand on the investigation into Ilhan Omar? Obviously, there's some, questions regarding her citizenship. She's been referred to the Ethics Committee. Can we trust the Ethics Committee to actually be ethical and do the right thing?
Well, what's happened so far? Like, really, I think the remark is always let the process play out. Right, that's what they always say, and nothing never happens. I tried to subpoena her immigration records, her husband's immigration records, and it was Republicans that killed my motion.
Yeah, and what's going on with that? Do you have any more insight you can share on that?
As far as I know, nothing's going on, and nothing will go on. And that's Congress for you, because both sides protect the other.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Both sides protect the other. It was the Republicans that killed it. I mean, we can't get the SAVE Act passed. You want to know why we can't get the SAVE Act passed? I'm going to tell you why. Piss off. You don't get to know why. You can piss off. Just piss off, you little piss ants, you slaves. You don't deserve to know anything, slave. Give me your paycheck, slave. Pay your property tax, slave. Don't drive in the tollway without giving me your money, slave. Pay your gas tax, slave. Regulation, slave. Take away your Second Amendment, slave. Take away your ability to speak truth, slave. Slave, you're talking too much. Media, go. Bully this person into a state that they just can't survive anymore. Judiciary, we need you to drop down the enforcer arm on them. You little creep coomer, why don't you sue these guys? Don't worry, we have judges that will stand up, pinky swear they'll do the work for you. Sua sponte, we're going to go in and give you another chance, another bite at the apple, the 20-year judge. You didn't want to play ball, you need to retire. Let's bring in the new judge who says, hey, listen, let me reconsider that motion that you just got denied so that we can hand over more money and grift to evil people. It never ends, slave. And you don't get to know. It doesn't matter what you want to know. It doesn't matter what you think you're entitled to. You're entitled to do what we tell you to do, slave. You're a slave. Oh, and your children, they're mine, slave. In Congress, we get to rape women and do whatever we want, and you can say nothing about it. Slave and free and fair elections, that's misinformation and disinformation, and we have the gold standard, slave. And when you step out of line and you uncover the truth about the elections, we'll say there's nothing to see here. It's nothing but time drift, slave. And you, Miss Peters, 9.5 years you go to prison, slave. How dare you stand against us, slave. You don't like being called a slave. And yet, slave, that is what you are, slave. Mace says it well. It's the Republicans that stood against me, slave. And you could probably put slave after every sentence, and that is what they are saying to you, slave. And no matter how much information we pick up, you have the village idiots and the low IQ people that say, oh, you lost me if you said that the elections were stolen. Well, you're a low IQ individual, so it's not hard to lose you, slave. You stand in the way and you stand up and you ask for entitlements as you walk around in your LL Beans and talk about the fact that, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. Oh yeah, global warming, that's what it is. But you can't talk about the truth because you are a slave. I want to show you something, slave. By the end of this, if you get tired of being a slave, then it's your obligation to stand up and do something about it, slave. Oh, and by the way, slave, you're going to pay reparations. And we're going to make it look like we got a bunch of stuff going on so we can divide you all and hand out even more of your money to somebody else. Slave. In Colorado, here's some HAVA complaint that's filed against Jena Griswold. Explosive data. Here's the problem. We already knew about the explosive data. We've been talking about it for 5 years. But Peter does a good job of pushing it out. Official election records show post-certification ballot changes. 2020 election, 328,895 changes. Slave. 2022, 155,576 changes. 2024 elections, 3,416 changes. Total 487,887 voter history changes after elections were certified. Ballots added, ballots deleted, votes flipped. The certified number reported by Jena Griswold's office shortly after each of these elections do not match up to the ballots cast in the report in the federal EAC about 6 months later for any of these elections. A 23-page Fed sources, and analyzed the data obtained directly from the state of Colorado.self. United for Freedom source and analyzed the data obtained directly from the state of Colorado. Who altered the records once each election was held, then certified? These numbers should not change. Okay, just so you know, the numbers that we have now in the elections in 2024 are largely fraudulent. They're largely fraudulent. You have changed processes inside of the machines, and they can make the elections look any way they want. And you'd say, well, how do you know that, Joe? Well, I'm going to tell you how I know it. I know it because we looked into the gas bill records and we just ran them to say it's normal. Is it normal? No. No, it's not normal. It's a fixed election using PID controllers, and the outcome is all kabuki theater. Slave. The United for Freedom put this out. This is the Texas primary data. This is the primary. analysis engineers, investigators are conducting a forensic review of official Texas primary election records. What we're seeing is evidence of vote tampering, not speculation, not social media theories. Actual real-time manipulation of the voting records themselves, patterns showing ballot history changes and should not occur in lawful election record systems. Let's be clear about something. U4F does not chase narratives. We analyze public election data under the framework of federal law, including NVRA, HAVA, and the Civil Rights Act record retention requirements. We're prepared to release the Texas primary data is deeply concerning. If you believe in real voters, real votes, and real counts and real proof, now is the time to support the work. The effort is powered by volunteers, data analysts, investigators, and citizens who refuse to be led to the truth. Let the truth disappear in bureaucratic silence. Join the mission, spread the truth, help defend lawful elections. Slave. People are fed up, man. They're super fed up. Super fed up. And if you guys remember they had these ICE protests where the teachers and the administrators and these radical leftists inside the education environment. Now, keep in mind, they've been telling you that you have to have pink dinosaurs and you could change your gender and grooming children. And more teachers today are caught sexually abusing their students than ever before. Pride flags hang from every wall while the American flag is non-existent. 39 teachers in the state of Colorado in 2025 were arrested for sexual abuse. 39. You have a better chance of being shot sitting in a Starbucks. Excuse me, you have a better chance of being raped by a teacher than you do being shot in a Starbucks. They did this ICE protest and they had students walk out. Not one person was suspended. But a student, and if this doesn't boil your blood, I don't know what can, slave. I can't imagine what would cause you to boil. A student in Torrey Pines High School is suspended for posting a simple 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that read, "We love ICE, signed real Americans." He was suspended from school. School claimed that "I love ICE" message will incite pupils and create a clear and present danger or create a hostile or offensive educational environment. And you telling people that you can pick your gender and telling them that they're bigots and that they're homophobes, that they want to stand up for their Christian beliefs, that's not inciting a offensive or hostile environment? Fuck off. This is me flipping tables, by the way. Just if you want to know what it is, it's me flipping tables. In Pennsylvania, the shoe was on the other foot. An anti-ICE protest was organized, and the student body let the protesters know this is still America. Because kids are tired of your bullshit. You radical leftist, demonic pieces of trash. And I'm talking directly to what has happened in our educational environment. 20% of kids in the state of Colorado, I don't know what it is across the country, have entered into homeschool. Why? And you sit here and tell me, Joe, why are you getting mad about this? Here, let's just talk. Here, I'll be Benny Johnson. Oh, and 20% of the kids, 20% of the kids are going to homeschool so they can, Patrick, I think it's homeschool because they want to walk away from this stuff that's happening in the school. And you don't want to be passionate about this. This is the whole thing of controlling the narrative, controlling the emotions of people in this country that can see that their children are becoming victims of something very perverse and very evil. And all of a sudden the parents start standing up and saying, no more. Those flags are down. We're not doing this deal. You're not going against us. Let's put this up. All right.
get out of here, bro! USA! 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 USA!
It's a bunch of weirdos. Anyway, we're gonna bring our guest in. We have Marc Morano. He's an investigative journalist and climate skeptic. I hope he's a climate skeptic. Can't be on this show without it being. But he's a leading climate skeptic, investigative journalist, and communication strategist, known for challenging mainstream climate narratives and exposing what he calls the politicization of science. Founder and publisher, he's creator and editor at Climate Depot at climatedepot.com. I'm going to let him tell you about himself a little bit. And welcome to the show, Marc. You're muted.
Thank you. Happy to be here today. Appreciate it.
Good to have you. Tell everyone a little bit about you. It's the first time I've had you on the show.
Yeah, Marc Morano. My website is climatedepot.com. I'm the former senior staff of the U.S. Senate Environment and Public Works Committee. I work for Republican Senator James Inhofe of Oklahoma back during the Bush and Obama administration when we were battling, right when Al Gore's film came out, Inconvenient Truth. We battled the climate crusade then. And Senator Inhofe of Oklahoma, he's now deceased, but was the only, certainly senator willing to stand up to this whole climate hoax. And in the House, there was a few people as well. But we battled the cap and trade, and we actually defeated it for Obama. The problem is Obama then decided he didn't need any stinking democracy, and so he went through the unelected bureaucracy of the EPA to basically impose a carbon, a net zero carbon dioxide restrictions on America through the endangerment finding and others. So they started regulating human breath. We inhale oxygen, exhale carbon dioxide as a pollutant under the Clean Air Act. So that's where I worked. I also, before that, just to give you my long-term background, I worked for Howard Phillips of the Conservative Caucus. He was a former Nixon official who resigned in disgrace. I then worked for Rush Limbaugh, the television show back in the 90s. I did the Washington reports, had my camera seized at the Clinton White House live on NBC News, and they actually did a whole segment on it. Clinton was forced to apologize. And after that, I went and worked for Paul Weyrich Free Congress Foundation at a show called American Investigator, which was like a 60-minute style news show. And then I went to Brent Bozell Media Research Center, and then I went to the Senate, and now I'm doing Climate Depot. So it's been a long career in Washington since 1991, basically, and I'm pretty much disgusted with Washington, and I'm a little disappointed in Trump as well, but that's another topic, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's a topic you want to talk about. But
it's funny you talk about the things that are happening in Washington, and you're basically it's like Groundhog Day. You talk about only a few people and what they did at the APA. I'm happy to say that they haven't followed the Supreme Court ruling, but there was a Chevron decision that basically stripped the EPA of their ability to do that through regulation outside of the confines of the legislative body.
Yeah, and the hope now is, okay, here's the thing that Trump's done amazing. And Trump 1.0, his first term when it comes to climate, he pulled us out of the UN Paris Climate Agreement. Big whoop.
We're out of it again.
Got us right back in, which was still important that he did it, but I'm just saying it wasn't permanent. He did a lot of, expanding fossil fuels. And by the way, he did. And by the time Biden was president, by the time all the permits and the drilling went through, Biden actually presided over a huge increase in oil and gas. And the Democrats tried to use that. Look, he's actually increasing it. A lot of that was just the carryover from the Trump administration. By 2019, we had become energy dominant. And of course, that carried over when Biden was president. But of course, if Biden's policies had allowed to stand, we would be going to a stranglehold of energy. But what Trump 2.0 has done, and you mentioned the Chevron decision, you mentioned the Supreme Court, there's two things he's doing this time totally different. He's going after this endangerment finding, which goes back to the Obama administration, which again regulates carbon dioxide as a pollutant under the Clean Air Act, even though the Clean Air Act passed decades earlier, never was intended to regulate carbon dioxide, never classified carbon dioxide as a pollutant. Again, we inhale oxygen, exhale carbon dioxide. Human breath has been, since President Obama, regulated as a pollutant under the Clean Air Act. It gives you an idea of how anti-human this whole climate agenda is. That's point one. So what Trump is doing, he's now reversing this endangerment finding. He's vacating it, repealing it. And this is going to eventually make it to the Supreme Court. We believe with the current makeup of the court, they will withhold this, and we will no longer have unelected bureaucrats, mid-level bureaucrats at the EPA, literally regulating cars and cow emissions and our washers and dryers and gas stoves and wood-burning pizza ovens and imposing anything at their whim on the entire economy, gas-powered car bans, etc. So that's point one, is the endangerment finding. If successful, that makes it very hard to get us back into that unelected bureaucracy regulating us in the name of climate. The second thing Trump's done, and this is glorious because legally this should hold, but we know Washington is lawless, so I can't guarantee you that. But here's the bottom line. In 1992, George H.W. Bush signed the Rio Earth Summit Treaty. I believe it was May or June of 1992. The Senate ratified it. This was the mother lode of a nightmare that got the UN, got us into this just absolute national nightmare of the United Nations net zero climate agenda. This brought in sustainable development, Agenda 21. This brought in the UN climate conferences. This solidified, the UN climate reports, which we paid for, et cetera. This solidified the future Copenhagen and Paris agreements with the U.S. Basically signs our economy over to China, more so than we had with the NAFTA deals and all the other agreements and the global trade deals. So Donald Trump brilliantly just vacated the treaty. He sent the announcement just this week, actually, to the United Nations. I believe it was Monday morning of this week, vacating the treaty formally. It takes 1 year to vacate. If the United States is now vacating the 1992 treaty, which was ratified by the U.S. Senate, legal experts, again, how much stock you put in legal experts, claim, and all the environmentalists and climate activists are afraid, that a future President Gavin Newsom or President AOC won't be able to just get us back into it. They would have to sign a new treaty and resubmit it to the Senate for ratification, which would be very hard to do. So those two things, getting rid of the endangerment finding and vacating the 1990 true mother lode of the entire, I call it the bottom block on the Jenga tower, topples that whole agenda and gives a level of permanence to ending the climate agenda in America that Trump 1.0, his first term, never even contemplated.
So if you're, that's a lot to kind of put together in one big basket, but if you were looking at it from a Democrat Republican standpoint, obviously I was saying this before you came on, it doesn't matter what you do in Washington, then neither side really has any sort of hold on doing right by the American people, which means the American people are just nothing but slaves, EBITs.
Well, in terms of getting rid of the climate agenda, this was a true just human. I wrote the book, The Great Reset: Global Elites and the Permanent Lockdown. And I think as bad as COVID lockdowns and as unscientific and as totalitarian as they were, the only bright spot that came out of COVID lockdowns and the whole Anthony Fauci and NIH and the appeal to experts was that the public no longer accepts that. Remember, the public has to give, you say we're slaves, but we had to give our consent during COVID to wear masks, to stay locked down, to cancel weddings and funerals, to cancel medical procedures, to cancel schools, to literally see the largest transfer of wealth from the poor and middle class to the wealthy, to allow Walmart to be open, but mom and pop shops shut down, to allow strip bars to be open and tobacco stores, but you couldn't have churches meet in person. We allowed that. So even slaves give their consent, is what I'm getting at here. And I think because COVID was such an insane overreach by the powers that be, establishment, ruling class / deep state, there was a benefit that came out of that. And one of them, I think, is the true, just crushing of this climate agenda. It's going to be very hard for a future President Gavin Newsom to come in and say, we got to save the planet, even among Democrats. I was at the World Economic Forum in Davos as a reporter this January, 2 months ago, and even among the members there, it's not there. So I understand the concept where slaves. I'm contemplating never voting in a presidential election again. I voted for, I think it was whoever ran 1988. I think it was Ron Paul, 1992, Andre Moreau, 1996, Howard Phillips. 2000, I voted probably for Pat Buchanan. 2004, I voted for George W. Bush, later regretted that. I did it because I didn't like John Kerry. 2008, I think I did vote for McCain because I like Sarah Palin. 2012, I voted independent, throwaway vote again. 2016, I voted for Trump all 3 times. Trump as a candidate, if you compare him to everyone post-Reagan, you compare him to George H.W. Bush, Bob Dole, George W. Bush, John McCain, Mitt Romney, you can have all of them. Donald Trump spoke a different game. And I think his first term had a lot of good to it. But the second term, I'm afraid he's getting derailed on foreign policy and maybe his mercurial personality on a lot of different things. I fear my complaints specifically about Trump's second term, aside from what I just said, was great. I do think that we are creating a surveillance state. I do think the contracts with Palantir, if you go back and look at the history of that, that was formed originally by the Bush-Cheney White House as a government agency to do surveillance, but because of the freedom of speech, surveillance, constitutional issues, it was immediately shelved, and then Palantir became a company the following year. Palantir is going to do it off the books. They don't have the same constitutional limitations.
Well, that's the same thing. Yeah, I mean that. By the way, that's the same thing that they've done in every instance related to shelved DARPA and or Department of Defense initiatives against the American people. Is
right. I'm against public-private partnerships. No good. I don't like privatizing. I don't want to private. I know a lot of libertarians in Washington. Oh, we should privatize the post office. It'll be more efficient. You know what? No. I kind of like inefficiency in government. I'm nostalgic for it. I don't like privatizing prisons. I think that's kind of a scary concept as well. I think we should have inefficient, bloated bureaucracy at government because we know that devil, we know that evil. So I think Trump, huge missteps with Epstein files and the point of like comical absurdity, how they handled it. And I also think the foreign policy, we'll see how it goes. I try not to get too down on it, but this is probably a bridge way too far. I'm touting all the energy prices. We're in an incredible position to actually lower energy prices, which is the backbone of the economy, which would help lower inflation, which would keep economic growth. And they're going all that way. There's talk now of the Pentagon asking for $50 trillion increase. We also, Trump, when you can go back and look at the tapes of this, the first month in office, he's talking about cutting the Pentagon budget, which was then $900 million, down to like $600 million, like a third cut. And then within weeks, they pass a record Pentagon budget, or as part of the big, beautiful bill. Now they're talking about an increase of $1.5 trillion, and the Pentagon's never passed an audit. I worry that Trump has squandered the greatest populist movement of our lifetimes. In terms of
so let me be the arbiter of reality here, just if I can.
Yeah. I'm frustrated.
Yeah, no, you should be. You should be frustrated, but we also got to figure out where the frustration should be mounted.
Sure.
You've been in Washington long enough.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't have the answers. I'm just telling you, I'm just sort of burned out here. Yeah.
So let's talk about the Judases and Brutuses, right? You know what I'm talking about? Sure. The people that stand on our side that are controlled opposition, that get in the middle of everything that we're trying to accomplish on a very regular basis, right? And the difference between those Judases and Brutuses are some are dangerous, some are fatal, some aren't. Some just get their pound of silver and they do whatever they can to just take orders. And then the Brutuses, they're actually the more dangerous ones. They're the ones that are stabbing President Trump as he stands there, and he looks up and can't expect that person that was that close to them would do that much harm to him, right?
Yes.
So when we look at it from that lens and just how rotted out the apparatus of government is, because it's rotted. I mean, you can't get Republicans and Democrats to even talk about who was sexually abusing who inside of Congress. Yeah. They voted literally 80% against the American people having any sort of transparency. And we're talking about the SAVE Act, or we could talk about the recess appointments. It could handle, Thune could handle it overnight and have hundreds, if not thousands of appointments that would become ink dry. But since October of 2025, we haven't had one recess appointment. President Trump hasn't had one other person appointed. So we don't have a problem. President Trump is literally doing the best he can, playing triage in the middle of what I say is absolutely disgusting betrayal by the Republicans of the American people. Nobody's happy, brother. Nobody's happy. The Republicans aren't happy. The Democrats aren't happy. Independents aren't happy. Everyone in this country feels like they're a slave. And these pieces of shit in Congress won't even give us a free and fair election so we can get to fixing the judiciary and fixing the other things that we're dealing with right now. So, it's hard for President Trump to be the singular person to get things across the finish line when, frankly, he's got so many people working against him.
He does. Again, but I think what could be his undoing is foreign policy. And I think he's just got to be careful. He gave so many speeches about war with Iran, so many speeches against regime change, so many speeches against the Bush-Cheney policies. And to see Tulsi Gabbard go completely silent, to see Pete Hegseth, who had called himself a reform neocon, pushing all this, I like Pete Hegseth a lot. Pete Hegseth cited me in his book on climate change. In his book, I'm a regular on Fox and Friends. So I'm not necessarily criticizing. I'm just saying that's what's especially in a midterm election year, because if the Democrats win in the midterms, Trump's presidency, I won't say it's effectively over, but it's severely handicapped.
Oh, he'll be impeached day one. Day one when they get back in office, he'll be impeached. And
what I would say right now is the number one thing they have to do is keep this war contained and short. Absent that, everything else you mentioned is going to take a second. Even Epstein, I think, will take a second place to that. If America's at war, and that's one of Donald Trump's strongest messages. He was the peace candidate. Remember, Liz Cheney was an advisor to Kamala Harris, and that's what Trump and Vance made so much fun of that. They're going to get us in war. They're going to get us war. That's all I'm saying to you. Is everything you're saying is valid, and I agree. But war is going to overtake all of that and become the number one issue unless this is wrapped up. And just to be specific, I think wrapped up in 4 to 6 weeks. It can't continue past that, if that long, because I think it's a $50 trillion budget, the energy costs, inflation, and just a war economy. It's going to be weathering people. And then the Epstein has softened, I think, the MAGA base a little bit the way Trump's handled it, the administration.
Yeah, look, the appetite right now for what they've done to the American people, I think you're going to start seeing that 4 weeks is possible if you didn't have false flags and other things that are going to pop up. You're going to see sleeper cells that start to become active. You're going to see a couple of those happen over the next week to 10 days. And by the way, this isn't my assessment of things. These are fact texts that came out that basically say that the threat level is as high as it's ever been if you go back to September 11th, 2020, or 2001. So when we look at all this information and we look at all the information that we're trying to digest, we still have to get to a place where the American people show their demands. And Marc, we're not doing that. We're not showing our demands at all. We're not pushing on any levers. We're not getting pissed off. We're not, refusing to pay taxes. A lot of things can change if we actually stand up collectively and say, we just had enough.
I agree. And I think just looking at Trump's campaign from last year was I guess it's 2024, 2 years ago now, was a marvel of alignment that I've never seen in my lifetime. I think it exceeded what even Ronald Reagan captured in 1980. And I was actually a volunteer in 1980 on Ronald Reagan's campaign, and I actually attended his inaugural as well. But what Donald Trump was able to accomplish, I think, the ridiculous, show trial, fake prosecutions, and he was a convicted felon, and that, along with the assassination attempt, brought in Democrats, independents. I think the alliance with RFK Jr. was actually very good. And by the way, I'm actually pleased with what I see RFK doing. I mean, he's got a lot of severe limitations on himself, but he got the food pyramid flipped around. He's doing a lot of other good things with reforming the NIH and the whole public health. And I like Jay Bhattacharya. That's a very good area, and that you would never see in our lifetime unless a Donald Trump was reelected. You wouldn't even see that in the Trump first term. There's so much better about Trump 2.0. I just don't want to see it all. I guess two things I would focus on, but that's only me, and that's only my personal bias. Too much emphasis on AI and Pentagon contracts and supporting big tech, although I love what he did with the agreement, and big tech's going to pay. We need Donald Trump to do that because AI on the local level is out of control. I live in Virginia, the state with one of the most data centers anywhere in the country. They buy off all the local politicians, and they pretty much run roughshod for these ugly Soviet-style AI data centers. But anyway, AI is the two areas you have to be careful, and also, again, foreign policy. War is just not something that you can push in a midterm. I'm sorry, that's going to be the Achilles heel of him. So, but again, it's hard for me to even say that because again, on my issues that I've spent 30 years on, climate, energy, environment, Trump administration has exceeded all my expectations and has done things far beyond those of mortal men President Trump has done. I'm just really impressed with him.
So, again, I'm a lot less critical of President Trump because of the things you just said at the beginning of that, which is that President Trump went through these show trials.
Yes.
And as much as they are show trials, it was a hard burden to bear for his family.
I can only imagine. Yeah. Yeah.
And so just imagine him having to go through this election and go through it a second time. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't
know how
Donald
Trump. I don't know how he does it. I mean, he's the most unique president. No one's ever thrown as much shit as him repeatedly and in the deepest of piles and nonstop and persistent. And he just keeps coming back and back and back and back and back. He's the most amazing personality we've ever elected. And I just hope that, again, foreign policy doesn't derail it. But we will see, and I hope this midterm doesn't derail it. That's the other thing. So, but even then, this just what he's done in 1 year on so many different issues has been phenomenal.
I would agree with that fully. Well, I want to ask you a question. I know you have a hard stop.
Yeah, I got about 3 more minutes or so. Yeah,
okay.
Thanks.
You've been tracking issues for decades. And we look at the ideologies with climate change, social justice, endless wars. Do you think the overarching effect of all these, or the strategy, is to override or derail or destroy American interests? Do you think that these things have been, from DEI to everything that we have to deal with?
It's a great question. I would say they're designed to create chaos. And I used to look at the world more on the left versus right. And then COVID sort of red-pilled me to look at it as us versus the ruling class governing elite. Throughout history, and I write about this in my book, the ruling class, governing elite, deep state, whatever you want to call it, has always tried to find reasons why the rest of us cannot be free. And if you use emergency decrees, you go back to the Roman Empire, the Middle Ages, 1930s Germany. That's when the greatest violations of civil liberties happen, in times of crises, chaos, which, again, all these things you just mentioned are designed to do. But then, this was Peter Flaherty, National Legal Policy Center, pointed this out. For instance, the transgenderism, that's funded by Bill Gates and what's his name from the investor, Warren Buffett.
Yeah,
they had gender toolkits in all the in schools. So these were billionaires funding this chaos. And of course, people fall into the ideology as well. But I'm saying there's something about the ruling class that wants us at each other's throats. But at the other hand, there's just serious disagreements on issues, everything from, obviously all the social issues. But it serves the purpose of the billionaire class for us to be fighting about issues like, is she a woman? Can you define a woman? That's being funded by the billionaire class to create that kind of fighting so we don't actually pay attention to other issues. So I guess I look at the world as, I'm not a party guy. I've always hated the Republican Party, actually. I mean, I just told you I tried to protest vote them all. I mean, I can't stand most of the nominees. Trump was the only one. I couldn't believe people say, I can't believe we have Trump. I'm like, you'd rather Romney, McCain, George W. Bush? What the hell are you talking about? So, and it's an interesting way to look at it. But I now look at it as it's that we're against the ruling class and we need to punch up. We shouldn't be fighting our neighbors on a lot of these issues, if we can help it. Obviously, there's certain things, if you're in a local school board and someone's trying to get men and women's sports, you're going to be fighting your neighbors. But I'm talking about, we got to remember that us fighting each other is serving the interests of that ruling class that wants to crush it.
Yeah, there's no question. You say that it's to create chaos. I think chaos favors the op, never favors the people. And so you have these billionaires that are sowing divide, and that divide allows them to get more opportunity because you can't make progress. Progress through chaos is never possible. And so the only people that can actually do that are people that are operating above that chaos and watching it happen.
Right? Absolutely. And that's what they want us at each other's throat. But we will see. I mean, this is, we're going into this next, 6 months, or which I guess should say 8 months, whenever the elections are in November, are going to be very critical. This is a huge, because I think we have to avoid, again, is the war derailing support for Trump. And I think that's the biggest issue. I don't think people like they just don't want to see every night in the news or all the whatever source of information. They don't want to see casualties. They don't want to see bombs. They don't want to see Pentagon budget increases. That's not what America wanted. And the question really is, was it necessary? And that's another issue that, again, you can argue that a million different ways, but that's going to have a huge electoral impact. But thank you so much.
America first, America
I
first.
agree, yeah.
Thanks, Marc. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Joe.
you.
All right, appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
God bless you.
All right.
You know, the thing about what's happening in Washington, and no matter where you look over the last 3, 4, 5 decades, and I just have a cursory look into it for the years that I was in the Middle East and Africa, and I would go to Washington and I would attend the National Prayer Breakfast, and then I would be in these meetings having conversations with kings, presidents, prime ministers, and I thought my time with that was done. Like when I came home in 2012, my daughter was going to high school, and she's like, Dad, I'm so glad you came home. And I was like, yeah. And I started my company, and I thought that my time having to deal with this would have been over. And then fast forward another 7 years later, I'm doing some pretty crazy things in my company, and we're having some immense success. And I find myself right back in the middle of it. Excuse me. All right. We're going to go take a quick break. When we come back, man, I can't believe I'm like, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have another guest. Is the guest in? Okay, so we have a guest. He's been on here before. You know who he is. Halsey's been, he's an Englishman. But he's a geopolitical expert and political commentator. I always have a great conversation with him. And we're going to talk about what's happening in the Middle East. And we're going to get a little friction. We're going to have a little friction here because I'm going to disagree with him something. I was looking at some of the things that he was posting. And but I want you guys to know that we have to have these debates and have this friction in order to get to a place where we can understand where true north is on this stuff. So we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Halsey. See you back.
In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
Hi, I'm Joe, Supreme Leader of DCF Guns. What is DCF Guns, you ask? We're the best damn gun store and range in the universe. Do we have guns? We have all the guns. We got small guns. We got big guns. We even have beastly guns. We offer all types of training, and we have 5 ranges across our 3 locations. I'm a good shot. And of course, we have all types of ammo. We even have flamethrowers. Woo! We offer incredible membership opportunities, and members save even more on guns, ammo, and accessories. Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter. It's hot.
In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
Well, I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to go ahead and bring Halsey in. Halsey, welcome to the show. Oh, you're muted. Almost.
Yes, I was.
There you go. How you doing, brother?
I said, how you doing, brother? It's been a while.
It has been. How you been?
Thank God. Doing really, really well. You know?
Well, you
so
got a lot
what are we
going on right
disagreeing
now.
about? Let's get it on. What are we disagreeing about?
Well, I mean, look, we have this whole thing in the Middle East, and we're retaliating, and the missile drone strikes on U.S. bases in Kuwait. We got all this stuff. Why, Halsey? Why? What are we doing here, bro? Why?
Because we are literally changing the world. That's why.
It's never worked out. Last 80 years that we've done that with the CIA and everything else, not respecting the sovereignty of nations, we've killed more people than died in World War II, and we're doing the same thing all over again. Why?
No, we're not. Not even close.
Well, tell me why. How are we not?
Because the last people have been fucking pussies. And honestly, the target was the wrong target. We have been fighting skirmishes all over the world, letting our politicians make the calls for us instead of our generals. And our goal has always been to police the world. We are not policing the world right now. We are kicking the ever-loving shit out of the city of London. We are putting them out of business, getting them out of our fucking affairs, and becoming a sovereign nation ourselves again. No more multipolar world, no more third world bullshit. We are taking back what's ours as Americans, and we are asserting it by right. And we are doing it well. We are fucking overwhelming force, waving our dick all over the Middle East and saying, if you don't like it, close your eyes and run away.
Well,
that is what a sovereign imperial power is supposed to do.
Yeah, but look, rules are for thee, but not for me. I mean, come on, man. That's not what's happening
Rules
on our
for who?
soil. Hold on. We have
Rules for who?
We got 3 mosques every month that get opened up in Texas. We got a person up in Minnesota that married her sister, moved here. You can't even get the legislators to get out of their own way. We have DEI
100%.
and we have gender fluidity in every one of our
100%.
schools. We have these pieces of shit trying to tell us that we have to do some sort of reparations on something that happened 250 years ago. Nothing that
100%.
you're talking about happening there is happening here in the United States because we're getting taxed to death, walked over with entitlements and everything, going to third world, with the IQ of rocks in our own country while we step on the faces of veterans. I mean, it's that may be what you think is happening there, but that's not transpiring, and it's not transcending to what's happening here in the United States.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely transpiring to what's happening here in the United States, because without defeating the City of London, without defeating Davos and the WEF and old Europe, we will never get over this, ever.
Well, just put a bullet in the Rothschilds and extend it down to everyone else below them, and then maybe you have a chance. But we're killing the Ayatollah. We're killing the Ayatollah
right now. Who do you think the Ayatollah was? Where did he come from when he took power? France.
1979. Wow.
In France. He came from France on an Air France jet. Who do you think created Sykes-Picot, which divided the Middle East into these weird countries that have nothing to do with each other and nothing to do with historical ties? Who do you think shit stirs all over the world whenever they start to feel a little bit irrelevant?
United States?
No.
I was there, bro.
We come and mop up their problems. That's what we do. They shit stir, we come in and mop it up, and then we take the deaths for it. We're not doing it anymore. We're doing it for us. Why do you think every Arab nation is with us on this Iran thing, except for 3, Britain, France, and Spain? That's it. The only Muslim nations who aren't with us are Britain, France, and Spain. The rest of the Muslim world is all with us. The only ones who aren't are Al-Qaeda is with us. Al-Qaeda issued a fucking statement that they were all for us destroying Iran. Everyone is with us on this. The entire Arab world is with us on this. China seems to be with us. Russia seems to be with us. They're giving nothing to them.
They don't have to give anything to them. I mean, right now they're playing it out, but you have some temperatures rising with some of the nations that you just actually talked about sending warships to the region. France?
Who?
France?
Fuck France. Okay, are you afraid of France? Because I'm not.
Dude, I'm not afraid of anybody. But here's the deal. I also don't have a warship that I can send into anywhere, right? I mean, as being an American, we have to rely on our leaders doing the right things. Now, look, I believe that President Trump is an anomaly. I won't go against him. He says that we should be there. Great. Well, we're there. Let's figure it out. But you'd be hard pressed not to ignore the apparatus of the CIA and the fact that they've destroyed the sovereignty of nations all over the world, killed millions of people, all to line their own pockets, not because of U.S. interest. Yep. And they did the same 100%. Thing in the United States, stealing elections that we have here. And we can't fucking 100%. Get that done at all either. We can't get the SAVE Act passed. Can't get rid of these stupid machines. And we just talked about another election cycle in the primaries, which are absolutely bogus. And we're sitting here going like this, saying, let's go blow up Iran, and we can't even take care of our own backyard.
Do you believe that Iran tried to assassinate Trump twice? He said it himself that they tried. So,
I mean,
twice,
look,
they've tried to assassinate him.
I don't believe a 16-year-old shot him through the ear. I don't believe that was a real thing. I think somebody else took a shot at him. Frankly, I think by the grace of God,
very well could be possible, but
right.
But what he did say was twice that Iran tried to assassinate him.
I believe. I put nothing past any of these people.
So how do we declare our sovereignty? How do we stop these people, all the same people you just talked about, if they can come on our soil and try to assassinate our president?
Bro, they're already on our soil. We have supercells all over the United States, and I'm talking supercells. Well, I don't know. I don't. If I knew, then that'd be a different conversation we'd be having. We'd be having it offline, and it would be like, "Hey, let's go take a look at these guys." Right? I don't know. I just know that you can't have open borders for 4 years and not have a significant threat on our own soil. You can't. It's not possible.
Borders are closed. Borders are closed. We closed them. Trump did that.
So what about the people that are here, that have been here for the last 4 years?
He's been throwing them out. He's throwing them out the best he can. We have more deportations right now than we've ever had since they started keeping
records. Not true. Actually, that's not true.
Yes, it is. Because if you're going to quote to me that Obama and Biden had more, Biden and Obama measured it by saying that people that came up at the border and were turned away counted as a deportation. Trump got rid of that standard. Only a deportation is a deportation under him.
All right. How many people do you think are in the country illegally?
Probably about 60 million is where I'm willing to say is probably the right number.
How many people did he throw out so far?
About 1.2 million.
Okay, and if you count the people that left on their own, which is another 2.5 million.
That's count. I thought it was 1.2 million total.
No. It's the 1.2 million are the people that but there's probably about 3 million people that are gone.
Okay.
Right? So you have 57 million people in this country by your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably a little less than that, but let's hypothetically say it's 57.
You know what? Let's have some fun. Let's say it's 70 million that are still here. Let's just for the sake of argument.
Right. So those 70 million people. By the way, a vast majority of them, nearly 70% or 80% of them, get entitlements that Americans don't get: free health care, free child care. They can breed like rabbits. They can do whatever they want. Get multiple houses. Get married to multiple people. Do all that stuff, right? How much of a radical influence do you think still exists in the United States? Radical Islam issue that we have in the United States?
I think it's there. I think for sure. I think it's been here since the 90s. So I don't have an argument with that.
But how significant do you think it is today?
How significant has the terrorist attacks been since September 11th?
In the United States?
Yeah.
Well,
from radical Islam in the United States.
Okay, so you know what Stockholm Syndrome is?
Sure.
All right, so on September 11th, what was the temperature towards Muslim nations in the 1, 2, or 3 years? Excuse me?
You mean right afterwards or before it?
Right afterwards.
Oh, no, before it. I thought you meant before it.
No.
Right afterwards? Kill every Muslim that exists.
But I was one of those guys, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was one of those guys. Don't worry about it.
You couldn't get me to go into a store.
One love, brother.
Right. I mean, I was as anti-Muslim as you possibly could get. And that went on, that hatred went on for 5 years. I mean, I'm talking, I lost friends in that whole deal on the East Coast. I grew up in Washington, D.C. I felt that sharp stick, right? So, and then I went to the Middle East, and then their campaign in the Middle East was to make the enemy your friend, and because there was good Muslims, there are Muslims that are good people, right? There are,
I'm sure.
And so the idea is that they would create this environment that then would mule into that it's this racist, environment, and you're basically hate mongering, and you had the Stop Hate initiative that was started in 2005, and by 2008, you had Muslim nations that were involved in funding these terrorists, and you could say it's an inside job. I probably would have to believe they had to know about it, but let's just hypothetically say it wasn't. It was just Muslim nations that were funding these guys that started funding enterprise. They started funding businesses and people and Americans, and this initiative that Muslims are good, and that they, and it went on for almost a decade. And you had people that became apologists for it. You had people like me that went to the Middle East, went to Iraq, went to Afghanistan, was in these areas, saw the proliferation of millions of people there, and got to the bottom of the weapons of mass destruction and all the lies that the American people were told, right? And then I personally don't have a problem with Muslims. I have a problem with radicals, right?
Okay.
But now, fast forward into 2020, 2021, 2022, the radical element of America is not Muslims, it's white liberals. Quite literally.
Ain't that the truth?
Right?
I wasn't ready for that one. Okay, keep going.
So we now have the highest peak of funding in the United States using nonprofits to launder money through, while you had elections that were stolen. Remember, the election stealing on mass scale started in 2004. 2004, you then had 2005, where you had Venezuela that came in, Sequoia voting system, 17 states, and you had this mass change of then this, instead of having individual elections state by state, they were able to steal elections up and down the ballot. So we have this kind of melding that happened with this ideology, with the idea that Muslim nations are good, and we got to protect the Palestinians, and we hate the Jews, and so you have this thing that happened in the middle of it, where Christians had to pick a side, right? So you had Muslims that were followed by Jesus, you had the Muslim followers of Jesus, you had this whole thing that was created that. And then over here you had but you still had to be connected to Israel and bless Israel, and then you'll be blessed. And so you have Zionism over here and neocons, and over here, I don't even know what you have. You have a semi-retarded group of people that frankly want to create a narrative that doesn't exist. And now neither side makes any sense. So vast majority of Americans end up in the middle, just shutting their mouths because they don't want to get attacked by either side, right?
So let's have some fun with what you're saying. Let's have some fun with what you're saying. Because you realize you literally just said exactly what I did. Okay? Who are those people? Just whenever you think of the third world, think of City of London. That is their answer to everything. Okay? The Democrats, the WEF, the City of London /EU, the Muslim third worldism, the Duginism, all of that are the exact same people. They're doing the exact same thing, opening up the borders of every nation that's a first world country. They're doing the same thing, pushing the trannyism and the gay stuff and all over the world. They're doing the exact same thing, right? And they want you to believe it's Jews that are doing it, or it's Catholics that are doing it, or it's evangelicals or Presbyterians, or that it's white liberals, or that it's something like that.
Well, it's faithless, godless. Yeah, but there is a fraternity.
But you just said it yourself. If someone is faithless and godless, right? How do you call them a Catholic? How do you call Biden a Catholic? Mr. Super Abortion, super gay rights. Biden is a Catholic. Okay.
How do you call Jared Polis a Jew?
Or George Soros? How do you call George Soros a Jew? Right.
Yeah, the guy, I mean, you can't. That's my point. But you're not allowed to criticize these people, bro. You can't criticize it because you're called an anti-Semite. And I'm like, look, I'm not a self-loathing dude.
You can't criticize these people because they found what works. And to be honest with you, it was a Republican that started all this shit. It was George Bush who said our fight isn't with the Muslims, it's with the radicals. The Muslims are great people. Al Qaeda is just not. Are there good Muslims? I'm quite sure they are, but I'm also quite sure that if they are so great, they can make their own countries great. Okay, I don't need them here to make my country great. We're good enough. Okay, they can go back to their countries, just like the Indians. They can go back to India. I would like to see a prosperous, non-fecal matter India that is a tech giant. Whatever it is they want to do, I want their country to be amazing. I want to trade with them. I want to hire them from afar. If they want to keep answering Verizon's customer service number until AI takes over, God bless you. Not here. I don't need you here. Okay? But the WEF globalist faction of the world, which is Qatar, by the way, which is all of these people, are here to make sure that we become the third world as opposed to being ourselves. What Trump is doing right now is reshaping the world. He is making illegal immigration literally front and center. Everyone talks about it. Whereas you weren't allowed to, remember when the word xenophobe existed?
Oh, yeah.
Do you hear anyone saying xenophobia anymore? It's gone.
No. Yeah.
Did you hear anyone talking about, oh my God, we have to let the men in the women's bathrooms, otherwise we're gone. He got rid of it. It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, it's still still there, but they're crawling into holes.
No, they're contained in their blue shithole cities that are falling apart by the minute. Okay? They have decided that the third world is, so just look for that marker. All you have to say is, where is the third world? As soon as you see it, that's the Democrats. That's the City of London. That's the WEF. That's who that is. Now, if Trump finishes the job here in Iran, if Trump changes the rules here in Iran, now remember, Saudi Arabia, most people don't even know this. I'm curious if you do. Do you remember Trump's first year in office when he went to Saudi Arabia?
Yes.
Do you remember what he did there? He considers it, by the way, one of the crowns of his first presidency. Most people have no idea.
Are you talking about the where the king bowed to him?
Nope. He put $3 billion. Saudi Arabia matched it with another $3 billion, and the Gulf states matched it with another $3 billion. It's called the Counter-Terrorist Financing Center or something like that. All the bad guys that you were just talking about that had funded radical Islam realized it was a mistake, and they started tracking the money with Trump to get these people the fuck out. The problem was, guess who was more than happy to take them? Europe. That's where all their radicals went. Why do you think every single boatload of migrants are young, military-aged men? They're not families. They're not kids. There's an occasional one or two, but they're all military radicalized men. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Syria, all these places got rid of most of their trash. They sent it all to Europe. Okay, am I happy about that? No, I'm not. I don't want to see European countries to fall apart. But guess what? If it's them or me, I'll stand for me.
Yeah,
because we're talking about it here. We don't have this bullshit where they can arrest you for naughty social media posts. We don't have this bullshit where they can do this to us. They can't repress us the way they want. They tried with COVID and it worked a little bit. And then the country revolted, brought Trump back, and look at what we've accomplished since then. Okay, I understand everyone wants it to be faster. I understand we want him to do more. But he's one guy fighting an entire system, and look at how much he's already gotten done.
Yeah, no, I don't have any doubt that he's getting a lot of things done. Right? And I'm not I don't actually criticize President Trump as much as I do the problems that I have with the Judases and the Brutuses. But
look at this. Didn't you see One-Eyed McCain is gone? He's out. Crenshaw, he's done. He lost his primary. So it looks like Cornyn's going to lose too to Paxton.
Yeah, which
they're being voted out.
Yeah, so didn't he actually support though Cornyn?
No, I think he just kept his mouth shut on it. I don't think he supported anybody.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, we have. there are lots of things happening, but the thing that makes me the most nervous about everything that you're saying, and by the way, I was there. I was in Qatar. I was in Doha.
I know, and I don't diminish that at all.
I've sat and broke bread with people from Al Jazeera. I've sat and broke bread with people who were that were in Guantanamo Bay and were held prisoner there for 4 or 5 years. So I've seen stuff. Like I've seen stuff, heard stuff, been around stuff, and I believe that there's funding both sides. Right? They're basically playing both sides.
They're funding both sides the same way we're funding both sides here. Okay, we have a right and a left here, and the government basically funds both sides, like when it suits them. So just so you know, it's the same thing over there. The same people that are funding the bad guys here are funding the bad guys there. The same people that are funding the non-bad guys are funding the not-bad guys. We're funding them all. So you're 100% right. But it happens here just as much. So
how do we? Let's look at this from a different perspective, because I'm more concerned about what the American people are getting right now, and right now there's a lot of trepidation on the things that you're talking about. Look, I understand foreign policy probably better than most people. I am not pro. We've talked about this before. I'm not pro Ukraine. I think that little midget should probably get thrown in a little hole.
He's also a City of London, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, look, they've been stealing elections, and we have to then talk about the fact that Dominion Voting Systems is stolen the elections through Smartmatic and other ES&S. Now we're seeing it happen in Texas.
Symptom,
so we
not the problem. It's symptom. It's not the problem.
But bro, if you could say symptom, but if you don't have free and fair elections, you get what you have now, which is a degradation of society that we have in our country and in literally 100 other nations.
You're 100% right. You're just not getting to the actual problem. The actual problem, I literally said this since I can remember. Since I was in high school, I was saying this. What is the purpose of mass migration? It's the census. It's not to get them to vote illegally. It's to get them to be counted illegally. Okay? When the census is taken, congressional districts and presidential electors are decided by the population. Not by the legal population, not by the population of citizens. It's by the population of people that were here. They weren't flooding our borders because they wanted them to vote. That's always been the red herring, that they can look at us and go, oh, yeah, that's bullshit. The illegals don't really vote that much. Sure they do, but not enough to really change that much. It's because California, New York, Texas, even to some extent, they get congressional seats apportioned because of the census. Trump has made that a key factor of his second administration, that we will not count illegals anymore into the census. That's the problem. Everything else is a symptom. The bad systems of voting, again, is it bad? Sure, but it's there to make us look in the wrong direction as to what the problem is. The problem is the 50 million or 60, whatever number we want to settle on, illegals here.
They're being counted.
They're being counted. And because they're being counted, we are never having a fair election because we lost before the first vote was cast.
Okay.
That's
so
why.
Let's hypothetically say what you're saying is true, right?
Uh-huh.
You still have to have a mechanism by which the people, because we have to look at it. Look, we can have conversations about semantics, the chicken, the egg. We do that all day long, right?
Sure.
But when the people are dealing with going to the ballot box and saying, I want to elect X person, and we've seen all these different primaries where the vote gets either manipulated one way, and I'm not even sure that the one where Crenshaw got thrown out wasn't a fraudulent election. We don't know. We don't know because the elections themselves are shit. So then that means that somebody is actually pulling the strings to say he's out. And in that vacuum is what we get better than what we had before. And if so, it's not sustainable. Again, we look at what happened in Trump's first campaign or first 4 years, and that all of it was reversed in the Biden years, and then reversing back, we've only reversed what Biden did by probably 10%. We're still 90% of the things that Biden put in place that we haven't even touched.
Do you realize what happened this week that is so astronomically huge? It changes the entire game, and most people don't even know it. Okay, where is
I'm pretty up on things, and if you could tell me something
I'm
I
sure
don't
you know
realize.
it too. No, I think you know it too. Okay. Up until now, Europe's strength has always been their ability to shit stir, to start wars, to do all of this shit. Right? But their real cornerstone of their strength right now is insurance. They insure 60% of the world's shipping. They insure 80% of the world's commercial buildings. Okay? Lloyd's of London is the player when it comes to insurance. They said they're not going to insure any more ships coming out of the Persian Gulf, and Trump said, we'll do it. He ordered the American government and insurance companies to start covering the ships, and he's giving them Navy cover, and he sunk the entire Iranian Navy. The entire power of Europe is going up in smoke. Why do you think we sunk that ship that was heading back from India? That everyone go, oh my God, war crime, Geneva Convention, international waters. Why do you think we did it? We are taking back what caused the American empire, our ability to guarantee safe shipping around the world. Now we're also going to guarantee that we make the money for doing it. We're not just paying for it out of our pocket to keep Europe fucking fed. We're doing it for ourselves. Why do you think all of a sudden, even the Orban and all of them are saying, holy shit, they're turning off our oil. Putin's saying, I'm going to turn off your oil and your natural gas. If you won't stop shit, Putin has wanted a deal in Ukraine now for 3 years. Britain and France won't let him have it. Every time America brings him to the table, Britain and France say, basically, we're going to send nukes. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're on their deathbed. And with them, all of their terrible, globalist, shit-stirring, we want to stay relevant and fed fucking policies. They're choking on the dick of radical Islam, okay? And right now, Trump is just letting them choke. That is exactly what's going on. Changing the game in Iran. And notice that when he was asked about the fact that China gets 45% of its oil from Iran, and they said, oh, don't you think China's going to be pissed? And he basically said, no, we talked about it. It's all good. He basically told them, don't worry, they're still going to get their oil. They don't have to worry about it. You know, you notice China's not running to the defense? Yeah, they sold them a bunch of third world crap that doesn't work against our systems so that they can make some money off of this whole thing before it did. Russia did the same thing. Now all of a sudden Iran's like, China, Russia, help. They're like, sorry, the number you've reached is no longer in service. Please try your call later. You know, like, I'm sorry. Yes, I agree with you. The CIA and the globalist faction of our government has done a really shitty job of regime changing the world by putting our troops in harm's way to enforce policies that have nothing to do with us. Trump's not doing that. He's bombing the piss out of our enemies, and he's changing the entire landscape of the Middle East. Have you ever in your life thought that you would see Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, even Syria is fighting with Israel and the U.S. to stop Iran? Did you ever think you'd see that in your lifetime? I didn't.
So let me kind of put two things next to each other that could possibly be correct, and you can say two things are true at the same time.
Always, I say that constantly.
We have things that we've done over the last 20 or 30 years. The things we've done in Syria, Egypt, Libya, Chad, Sudan, most 100%. Of North Africa and the Middle East, that has cost people tens of millions of lives easily, right? Just over the last couple of decades. Okay, and those deaths fall on the head of the United States. End stop.
Sure, I'll agree. I don't know if I totally agree, but just for the sake of argument, we'll say
the United States and Israel, because we're probably aligned.
Israel had very little to do with a lot of that, but go ahead.
But let's look at the fact that there's unchecked apparatuses of our environment that were able to subvert over 70 elections. And I think this is something that is well shared and understood, whether we're talking about DNI or we're talking about the intelligence apparatuses like that understand DIS or any of those organizations understands what's happening globally, right? So I think if we looked at it from that perspective, the United States has done some pretty terrible things. We've lied about a lot of things. Susan Rice is Queen Bee, the liar that goes to the UN and has really done some terrible things, okay? Now we're heading downstream where these tens of millions of people have died, right? And so we've caused this. And whether you agree with me or not, I was there. So I got to see a little bit of this up front and personal. You create.
I was in the Middle East too, just so you know. I was there for 11 years, so I know what you're talking about.
When you kill people's families, you create the next generation of terrorists, right?
In a sense, yeah.
And so we look at this from the perspective. I look at this from the perspective of we created the problem, and now we're going to solve the problem by now bombing Iran and doing a regime change when we were the ones that created the regime change to begin with, going back to 1979, right?
Okay.
So at what point do we actually just stop for a minute and say, okay, here's what we recognize to be true. People in Iran are done with the clerics and this religious control over the country. They want to live in a free nation that has some semblance of. I shudder thinking about the
Let's
word
say non-radical leadership. Let's say non-radical leadership.
In the United States, if we look at what's happening and what President Trump is doing, and you could say that it's 5D chess, aren't we literally putting ourselves in the same position where we're going to repeat history again if we don't get to a place where the United States, we have the ability to be told the truth, and two, get the ability for the people in the United States to vote for themselves, to have the ability to have elected leaders in a position of trust and authority represent their interests.
I agree. I think we're getting there.
How?
I think Trump's doing a hell of a good job of doing it.
I can think that Trump's doing a hell of a good job of doing it and still say to myself, we haven't solved the problems in the United States. And if we're dealing with all this stuff out there, at some point you got to get people in the United States some relief because there's a lot of suffering. A lot of suffering happening in our states, in our country now.
But if a big reason why we've been suffering and doing so shitty in the United States is because of our entanglements all over the world, and Trump is doing all that's in his power, which he has been with Syria, with a lot of the other countries in the Middle East, what Trump has been doing is disentangling us. He's getting us out. Okay, if we take out first of all, the Iranian access of the Palestinians, Syria, the Hezbollah, and Iran is shattered. It doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
The final stage is Iran right now. If we finish it and get the fuck out of the Middle East, maybe we can concentrate on ourselves a little bit and stop having the Middle East be the focus of our entire lives, which it's been since even before September 11th.
Bro, domestic policy is not that difficult.
Because you need Congress.
No,
it is because
it's that difficult because people don't have a voice in their own communities. This is what I keep trying to say. You know, I actually don't give a shit what happens in the Middle East. Build a wall around it and fill it up with water, right?
Right.
And the reason why I say that is because if we have 56 cents on every dollar, we got 20% of the kids that are running away from the education system. You have parents that are being persecuted in their own environments, being told you don't own your kids, the government does. We're in the biggest surveillance state that you could ever imagine. Palantir was a DARPA project that they basically privatized, put it in the marketplace, and said, just go spy on every American. Like, we are doing
just,
stuff.
Almost all technology we rely on came from the military and DARPA. But go ahead. Almost every technology we rely on comes from the military. Like, it starts as a military application and then it gets put. The internet started at DARPA. GPS started at DARPA. Like, just pointing to the bad shit, the one or two bad things, and saying that started at DARPA. It all starts at DARPA in the military. That's where all of this shit starts. Why do you think we were so big on going
I'm in
to space?
technology, and technology did not all start at DARPA because I've been in the innovation side of. I've been inside of actually creating technology, and I'm going to tell you right now, it didn't start with DARPA. A lot of the innovation that came out of it, they would actually refund it so that they could have access to how this technology was being developed. But DARPA didn't create most of the technology advancements that we have over the last 10 years. They just didn't. And any projects that they had, they were basically relying on privatized innovation in order to then bring it in and say, how can we then use that technology? I know this because I have cage codes, and on our side, we could get paid to do work on the cyber side in order to protect some of their assets, but we could also use that on the public side so we could help people in the civilian world as well. So I'm very familiar with how projects come out of come out of DARPA or don't come out of DARPA or DOD or any of those, right? What I'm saying,
I know you just explained exactly what I said, but you explained it way better than I would have, because I just didn't want to take all the time. But again, that's how we do things in this country. Our military funds private industry and then uses those innovations in order to benefit our military, and then eventually they come to the civilian side as well.
Most billionaires in this country, including Jeff Bezos and others, were created by CIA operations. They weren't. Most billionaires weren't guys.
Of course they were.
It wasn't a bookstore. I mean, it's just the absurdities of it, and we know this because there are books that are written by people that have gotten out that have said, "Hey,
we know this because we read."
Right.
Me and you read.
Right.
Most people don't. Okay, I'm sorry, it's just the case. But back to what we were saying though, and I think this is important. All of these things that you're talking about are definitely problems. Okay, but all of these things cannot be solved with the waving of a magic wand. These are things that we as people, a lot of them, we're going to have to deal with ourselves. If we want our school boards to answer to us, we're going to have to go to school board meetings and actually vote in school board elections. We're going to have to do that. We used to. We just don't anymore. Okay, Trump is defunding the Department of Education. When you talk about the fact that the intelligence apparatus, I mean, the fact that Tulsi and Rubio are basically our intelligence apparatus right now, and you know who they hate more than anything on the planet? Maybe the devil? The Democrats. Look at what they did to Tulsi. They literally branded her a Russian spy. Look at what they've done to Rubio. They've literally called him Hitler. You know what I'm saying? They are crushing these people. And I truly believe this. I believe that in Trump's first term, first of all, I don't think he really thought he was going to win. And when he did win, he was like, okay, what in the hell do I do now? And he listened to a lot of bad people and appointed a lot of bad people. The second time around, who's a Titanic piece of shit.
Oh,
right?
to an epic proportion. Not even.
Right.
Everybody wants to apologize for him, and I'm like, have you lost your mind? Seriously.
I know. Which is funny because all the people that hate Ben Shapiro, he was the one screaming it from the rooftops what a piece of shit Bannon was. That's why he left Breitbart, is because Bannon took over.
But he
started the Daily Wire. I've never said he wasn't. There's nothing I hate more than people that make me stand up for him. Yeah. Okay, because every now and then a broken clock's right twice a day, and sometimes you got to give a guy credit when he's right. But I hate standing up for Ben Shapiro. I really do. But at the same time, right? Trump this time, I believe, on day one, he sat down these people and said, these are going to be my policy objectives. This is what I want to do. You're on board or you're not, but I want to do this. And these people told him they were on board, and they're carrying it out. I really believe it.
No, again, I will say this. I look at it I look at everything in front of me that President Trump does in a system standpoint, like an architectural standpoint, like why is he doing these things? And it's why I had such a hard time on Monday when we came in, and I felt like I can't wrap my head around what's happening in Iran. And normally I come right out the gate like I did with Ukraine, and I'm like, I'll stand on the side of Russia every day, twice on Sunday. What's happening in Ukraine is basically a bastion of evil, and it needs to be crushed, and we need to get rid of these. And it cost me my relationship with Max McGuire, who is my co-host on this show, and an 8-year friendship, because he's like, I can't believe you stand with the Russians. And I was like, bro, you don't have no idea what's happening in that area. This is different.
See, I'm lucky. I said I don't give a fuck if they destroy each other. So as far as I'm concerned, couldn't happen to two of the nicest people on earth. So you know what I'm saying? But
I mean, look, I spent in the time that I spent in overseas, I learned that humanity is that one check that you can have to say, all right, can we get to a solution that doesn't allow for evil to thrive? And I think you can get to a solution in Russia where evil doesn't thrive. I don't think that could be said in Ukraine, right? But on Monday I got on here in the show and I kept going, all right, everyone's like, well, how do you feel about this? And I was like, I don't know how to feel about this, because there's so much complexities to this thing that I was looking at on Sunday that I laid out, that I couldn't get to a place where I could make a decision off that information that satisfied that thirst for what's the right direction? And so that brings
because
me back
the issue
to
you're having. Have you ever heard the I forgot the exact expression, so I'm going to paraphrase. Right, that most people go out and they think they see zebras all over the place, but what they see are horses. Right, it's very rare that you see a zebra. Most of them are horses. Right, we're having the opposite right now. Is that we're so used to seeing horses, we don't want to believe we're seeing a zebra. We want to compare what we're seeing now to what we've seen for the past 40 years and just accept that we've been so fucked for the last 40 years that everything we see going forward is just another example of them fucking us. So when we see something good happening, our first instinct is to go, okay, it may look good, but they're in all reality, they're definitely fucking us.
Yes.
Right? Sometimes it is a zebra. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes it's a zebra, but I look at the causal effects of things, right? So in business model language, you have what's called the holons within holons. Those are the systems within systems. So this language is used for me to basically draft ideas of how technology can be implemented in such a way that doesn't disrupt what I'm doing in other areas. And in AI, we use this in order to make sure that as we collect information that we're not getting away from true north as far as it being real, have a coefficient that matches 1, right? That it's true.
Okay.
So when we talk about this mapping, I look at it from the perspective of if we do something, let's say I use from a business perspective. Let's say we do something in HR to make a change, and it affects sales in a downward trajectory by 9%. Change it back, it goes back up. So we can say, okay, that's correlative. Now, a lot of times they said correlation is not causation. I think that's total bullshit that was created in the 1980s, 1990s in order to basically take people away from things, really bad things that were happening in our society that we could say is a result of that, okay? Now, and this is just me looking at it from this effect, and when we look at what we did in Iran, I looked at what happened beforehand, what's happening in the United States. So the decisions that President Trump is making, although they could have a long-term effect of 30 years from now, it'll be much better. Let me just hypothetically say you're right, and it's London, right? Bank of London, City of London, all these really bad people, right? Let's say you're right, which includes the Rothschilds, by the way. But let's say that you're right.
I never said it didn't.
Yeah, let's say you're right. Right now, we have a societal problem in the United States. 56 cents on every dollar goes to the government. We have a judiciary that is largely, it is so corrupt that we're in a lawless society right now. Bad people being put like on the streets, good people being thrown in jail for long prison sentences. And there's no mechanism by which they can be held accountable because they have qualified immunity. So we have some bad stuff happening in our society that is leaving Americans saying, I appreciate the fact that you have a 30-year plan and you're bombing the shit out of Iran, but I can't feed my family. I'm like in a really bad place. My son is in 12th grade and can't read. And oh, by the way, 75% of his colleagues or his students around him can't read either. So there's huge problems we have, and we haven't gotten to the basis where the parents or society can say, all right, we can vote these little assholes out. And don't talk to me about racism and any of that stuff. Y'all are all gone.
So here's the issue, right? In what you're saying. Absent the fact that we have better priorities. Okay, let's make the argument that we don't have priorities that are more important. Do you think what's happening in Iran is a bad thing on its own, without saying we could be doing something elsewhere that's better? Do you think getting rid of the Ayatollah and the IRGC is a bad thing?
No.
That's my point.
No.
Trump
No,
is a politician, and Trump's job as a politician is to leave the country better than he got it. Okay? All of the things you're talking about, I agree with you 100%. But I am a firm believer that if we don't get out of these international entanglements, which, by the way, is what George Washington warned us of, okay, if we don't get out of this, if we don't find a way to get out of this, all of those issues you're talking about will never be solved. We'll go bankrupt, and we'll probably just erupt into civil war, which will lead us to fucking Weimar Germany. Okay? That's what will happen if we don't get out of it. Trump doesn't have the power to enact much domestic policy because Congress won't let him. and he needs Congress to do almost anything domestically. Right? But what can he do? He can deport people. He can close the border. He can get rid of the IRS agents and reassign them to the border. He can make sure that the threats we face, the people that are sending the bad people here, okay, can't send them anymore. He can make sure that we now have allies that can pacify people like China and Russia, and we can get back to fucking doing business with each other as opposed to fucking hating and killing each other because Ukraine told us to or Biden told us to. Trump is doing what he can to leave off to the next people a better society than he inherited, and he's doing it. That's all we can ask of a politician. Otherwise, and think about it. If you let's say you were governor, okay? Let's say Joe Oltmann.
I might be.
That's why I'm
running for
making a
office.
joke. I'm making a joke. That was a joke. I said, let's say you're governor, right? And you're going to deal with the same shit. You're going to deal with that night that you go to a state dinner, right, and meet with the governors of California, Idaho, and whatever to talk about something that most people consider retarded. It's your duty as governor. And everyone is going to say, why is he fucking going and doing this when he could be solving this problem or solving that problem or solving this problem? And you're going to say, because it's my job. There are certain things that even though they don't seem to be all that important, I have to do because it's my job, right? And we love doing this. As Americans, we absolutely thrive on doing this. We love looking and going, oh, even though he did X, he didn't do Y, so therefore he's a failure and he sucks.
Right.
Right? But what you're seeing, if you want to do that, join Nick Fuentes and the Groypers and fucking Tucker Carlson and all of these weirdos right now who are whining constantly online as opposed to getting behind our country. All these people who are talking about how bad we suck and how awesome the Islamic fucking shitholes that we want to get away from, how awesome they are. Instead of dealing with those people who are trying to whine their way to victory, what we do.
You can put Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson in the same bucket.
He said vote Democrat.
Who did?
Nick Fuentes.
That's why I said you can't put him in the same boat as Tucker Carlson. Nick Fuentes.
Tucker Carlson, who's literally saying that the Islamic world is better than us.
That's not really what he said. That's not really what he said either.
It literally is what he said.
No. That's not what he said. I watched the video. That's not what he said. That's if you take a side and you don't listen to Tucker, then you'll say, well, it's absolutism, right? So we got to stay away from absolutism because you're actually asking me to stay away from absolutism while saying that he is absolute, right? That he's in a state of absolute.
No, I'm not saying either of those things. I'm saying he's a liar. There's a difference.
Well, no. He has perspective. He has perspective. What did he lie about?
He said that the organization HAVA started the war with Iran by making Trump bomb Iran. HAVA are a group that try to get Jews to fucking be more religious. They have no influence over anything in the world. They don't even have any influence in Israel. Okay? Like, they are literally nobodies. And he said that for no reason. Like, he just comes up with this shit. He interviewed a woman that he wanted to prove was saying that Christians were being oppressed in the Middle East. You do realize that was, what's his name? George Stephanopoulos' sister? Like...
Yeah, I mean, look, Tucker Carlson interviewed a guy named Jeffrey Sachs. You know who Jeffrey Sachs is?
Mm-hmm. I know he
is. Yeah. So Columbia University, dual citizenship, part of the CIA, has been for probably 30, 40 years. Started the Millennium Project, said that they were going to solve poverty in Africa, took $6 billion, went over there in concert with Bill Gates and basically sterilized communities all over the continent, right?
I know. I'm laughing because I know. Horrible guy.
Yeah, terrible. So he interviewed him, and now he became the expert on geopolitical pressures in the United States. He has no experience in anything, right? So these are talking heads. So I mean, look, I don't agree with everything Tucker Carlson says. I just don't think Tucker Carlson is Nick Fuentes.
But to be honest with you, though, we are going off on a tangent that I didn't mean to bring. I was saying about the whining. I was just talking about dealing with the whining people on Twitter. That's the only point I was. If we could just let's just say we disagree about Tucker and just go back to the Fuentes and them who are saying vote Democrat, give up. You know, like it's not worth it anymore. Trump betrayed us. We're never going to get anything. That's what people do when they're losers. Okay, we are not losers. You're running for fucking governor. Yeah. Okay, You didn't have to do that. I'm quite sure that your checkbook would have been much happier with you if you didn't do that.
This is so true. This is more than true.
So I'm just saying, like, there are people that decide that they want to get involved, even if they're unsuccessful, even if they give it their all because they want to get involved. The ones that don't get involved sit around and bitch about the people who do.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, one of the things that is I've been in this race now for 6 weeks, and I haven't put a lot of effort into it. So one of my friends is like, "Why haven't you put a bunch of effort in?" I said, "Because we're in the primary season. I'm going to show up to the assembly. I'm going to talk to the delegates. I'm going to do what's necessary. I'm going to pitch them on right now. I'm researching like the budgets for Colorado, what NGOs are doing, how much money goes to different entitlements." So that I'm the most publicly educated person on every aspect of the government apparatus of the state of Colorado, so I can talk to every one of those. And so when I show up to talk about these things, I'll say, we had $6.3 billion that went to NGOs. Of that money, it went to 39 basic NGOs, and only one of them had filed their 990s. People can go, "Holy crap, only one?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And by the way, there's no accountability that comes back that shows where that money was spent, and you can understand what enterprise environments are inside the government, so they don't have to report that underneath the budget, and how those money is basically wasted and then laundered to these other organizations. So I understand all this stuff now, and so when I talk about it, people are like, "Well, how the hell does he know about that?" Even like Scott Bottoms and those guys go, "So you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got an employee inside of the Colorado government and that is showing me how to decipher the budgets, because it's all bullshit, right?" So, but I've spent 6 weeks not spending a lot of time on it to pick up 35 to 40% of the delegate vote, right? I think somewhere around there, based on the number of delegates that have talked to me, which is a lot of delegates. But I say that because I'm not running for office because I want power or money, because it costs me money. I'm doing it for the people because I recognize that President Trump has to protect the House at the federal level and at the state level, but I need him to take care of it. Halsey, I need him to take care of the election problem so that we can have a fair and free election, so that I can lose fair and square or win fair and square, right? And so that people can stop losing. Because right now the people in this country are losing badly while we say we're winning out there.
I want you to remember a name, okay? Because this should give you a little bit of inspiration. I had to look it up because I forgot his name. His name is Edward Durr, okay? And it's a funny name. In 2022, he ran for the state Senate in New Jersey, okay? He challenged the president of the Senate, the most powerful Democrat in the state of New Jersey. Okay, he spent a grand total of $200 on his campaign because he bought some donuts for. Yep. And the only issue he was running on was that they were making it a pain in the ass after Bruin to get his carry permit. Okay, he won.
Yeah.
Yeah. He won.
He was wow. He's a state senator.
He's not anymore. His term was up.
Yeah, 2 years. Oh, interesting.
There's never anybody who doesn't have a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's you got the shot if you do what you make of it. And it's funny. I wanted to talk to you about this because, like, when I first heard, someone told me, I think it was Tommy, told me you were running for governor, and I said, I hope he just doesn't fall for the Sargon problem. Do you know who Sargon of Akkad is? He was a big YouTuber like a few years ago. Yeah. He had like 1 million subs on his YouTube channel, and he decided he was going to run for the parliament in England, right? I think he got like 4 votes because he thought that his online fame translated to real world political like kind of support, and then he realized that he had no real followers in his district. So he thought that he could rely on reputation basically to get him elected, and it just didn't work. But there's people like Edward Durr who make something their issue. They laser focus on I'm going to be the most educated guy that's running for office. I'm going to do this. I'm going to look at this and say, this is the problem. I'm going to attack and I'm going to fix. It's going to be elections. That's all I care about. Like, we can talk about welfare later. We can talk about fraud. We can talk about concealed carry. Obviously, here's my position paper on all of them. My issue is elections. If we don't have fair elections, everything else sucks. And from now until the day people vote, never fucking shut up about it. Just keep talking about it and talking. If someone comes up to you and says, what do you think about how we plant petunias in the fucking governor's mansion? Just say, I think that petunias are great, especially if we have free elections to make sure that the petunias are there fair and square.
And here's what you know about me. You know that's what I'll talk about. You're like, I'm that guy.
That's my point. That's my point. So Trump didn't run for office because he needed the power. Trump didn't run for office because he needed the money. You know what I'm saying? He had plenty of both. And he could have went around sticking his dick in every supermodel that ever existed for the rest of his life and died on his golden toilet one day and never would have been called a Nazi. We would have never been subject to impeachment and arrest and charges and convictions and lawsuits. All of that because he decided that he wanted to make things better. Okay? Yeah. And we're witnessing him making things better. I had this whole long talk with your other guy last time we were scheduled to be together.
Oh, you were talking to Patrick.
Yeah, I was talking to Patrick.
Yeah.
And I was saying, here's one little thing that you mentioned that it's such a game changer. No one even realizes this. Me and Tom Malongo talk about this, and people go, holy shit. And you could hear them clicking like on Google to see if what we're saying is true. Remember you were saying that all the mortgages are going to the illegals? Yeah. Or at least to the H-1Bs and all of that. I think it was something like 90% up until Trump took office. They're almost all FHA loans. Okay? Do you know what FHA loans are?
Yeah. Government-backed loans.
Transferable. When we kick out all of these people, you do realize that all the people that can't afford to buy a home can assume those mortgages?
Not exactly. It's not exactly how
they
it
can.
works.
No, they can. They're assumable. 100% assumable.
Yeah, but there has to be a non-prohibited party. In other words, you can do it, but you can't. Both parties have to agree to the transfer.
Not if one of them's been deported from the country. Then you know who has to agree with it? The FHA. Then the FHA can agree to it.
I don't actually know. I mean, I actually don't have enough
it's true.
information.
I didn't believe it either, and I had to call. I had to call and ask.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, right now, we're in the biggest seller's market ever because a lot of the people that own these homes are getting deported. And they're sitting there with a gorgeous mortgage at a low rate from back before inflation took over. And right now, people can go buy them. They can get those starter homes again. And they are, by the way. The FHA loans to non-illegals are now going through the roof.
Yeah, no question. No question.
You know? Trump's doing things, and he's doing things with an eye on the future to make things better for us.
I don't criticize President Trump because he is my CEO. He is a duly elected president of the country. He is the guy 100%. That basically, if he tells me to jump, I'd say how high. And it doesn't matter if I like what he's doing on one side. People go like, "Oh, Joe, you're kissing the ring." No, what I'm doing is I'm allowing the president to do what the president is in office to do. We asked him to do that. Now, do I believe there are Judases and Brutuses around him that are maybe making it more difficult? Do I think that? I mean, we need to talk about the over 1,000 appointments that are recess appointments that Thune is basically standing in the way of those people being put in office or in their position. Yeah, that's Republicans doing damage to President Trump. I 100% believe that we are sabotaged and betrayed by these pieces of trash that say they're representing the people, right? I believe that fully. But
how could they not have killed the filibuster? The Democrats say the moment they get the House, Senate, and presidency, they will kill the filibuster, nuke the Supreme Court by appointing how many ever justices, and pass the most liberal voting rights acts on earth. No photo ID, month before voting, all of that. They openly say, all of them, they will do it. Why aren't we doing it?
Well, I can
Why
tell you
are
right
our
now,
Republicans such pussies?
we are not going to be, and I'm going to just say it right now on the air, it will not be Republican versus Democrat. They will become the enemy of the people, and there is no soldier, there's no police officer that would stop the American people from slaughtering them if they're Democrats go into that position. So if that's the goal, is to get to a place of civil war where it's not civil war, it's us versus the betrayers. They will get there very quickly doing the things that you just said. Because I know thousands of men, and I'm not the only one, who would gladly give up their life to go and make sure that these people are unalived, with what you just said. Because we're already under a state of slavery. It'll just get much worse if that's the case.
But what I'm saying, though, is that President Trump is doing what he can. And the man has said since 2011 that he would bomb the ever-living piss out of Iran to stop them from getting a nuclear weapon. And he's fulfilling that promise, at least to me, because I heard him when he said it. He's always said it. I know that everyone likes, oh, he was against all these wars. He was against regime change wars where we put boots on the ground. But he's not doing that. He's just bombing the piss out of them. We killed the Ayatollah on day one. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're liberating people, and we're doing it the right way, as opposed to sending in half our army to go sit there and get shot at on some Arab toilet fucking corner because we believe that some are the good guys and some are the bad guys, and the terrorists we can't tell who they are. You know what I'm saying? Instead, I mean, God, every death is a tragedy, but what have we had? 6, and 3 of them were friendly fire. Like, that's a much different thing than Bush. It's a much different thing.
I agree.
You know. So,
I agree.
Listen, we might disagree on some of the small stuff, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm getting what I want from this president. It's not just because I love Israel. It's because I think that what he's doing is brilliant. I think that people, if you spend enough time on Twitter, you'll get depressed about what's going on. I think that if you talk to people in the street and ask them what they think about what Trump's doing in Iran, I think that most people, if they're not Democrats, like hardcore liberal Democrats, will tell you, I think it's a good thing. I think they were slaughtering protesters. They were forcing women into hijabs. And then guess what? We don't want it happening in Minnesota any more than we wanted it happening in Iran. So when we see all these hijabs going around Minnesota and all the theft and all of that, all of a sudden people go, well, wait a minute. Didn't we just fight that overseas? Why were we bombing them over it? Why aren't we dealing with it here? Now we get a mandate. You know what I'm saying? No more of this Islamophobia shit. You know?
Yeah. So it's I agree with you. I agree in principle with you. I just don't think there's just some fundamental things that I think I need to chew on a little bit. I need to, of course, before I say I don't agree with you or do agree with you, I need to chew on it. I think the fundamentals of things we agree with, because we're both strategists, we're both tactically sound, right? So we read a lot, we understand the condition of what happens on foreign policy and how that foreign policy affects the relationships we have with different nations. I think we both are pretty well versed in that. So
I think that the most important thing about us, though, and I'm willing to accept this about a lot of people, you being absolutely one of them, we love this country. We want this country to thrive.
100%. Yes.
Okay? And if that means that we have to say something unpopular, we will. Okay. And it means that I don't care who whines about it online. I don't care who freaks out about it on the mainstream media. I want this country to thrive. I have 5 children. Okay? All of them are under 18. I don't want anything bad to happen to them ever. You know what I'm saying? So if I've got to do what I've got to do to make this country better, I can support the people that I believe are making this country better. You know, and sometimes I'm going to win and sometimes I'm going to lose, but at least if I keep talking to the other people who love this country, I know we can make change together. I know we can, because we all have the same goal, a better country.
I agree. How do people follow you? I got to get going because I got to go to caucus.
You can find me online, Halsey English, at Halsey English on Twitter. It's the best way to find me. It's also named my YouTube channel. It's named my Subscribe Star. You can find me at any of them.
Awesome.
Okay?
Halsey,
and my DMs are open, so feel free to send me a message. You want to talk, I'm happy to do it. Thanks, man. I really do appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
Love you, bro. Thanks, man. Appreciate you very
much.
Take care.
Love you too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. I love having this conversation. Halsey's one of my favorite people, and for so many different reasons, because we can go back and we can talk back and forth on things, and we land in a place where we understand where we're coming from, but also where we're going. And it's one of the reasons why people say, Joe, you're an absolutist for President Trump. And I go, he's the CEO. He's the CEO. I don't like people telling me what I'm doing as a CEO is not working. I have to win, lose, or draw. I have to be responsible for the outcome based on the decisions that I make as a CEO. President Trump is the CEO of this country. Now, I don't believe that we're doing enough on the domestic side to get rid of things, but I also don't have a magic ball, and I can't see tactically what is about to happen other than things that I've been told related to elections. I think a bunch of people are about to get arrested, which is really good for me and it's really bad for them. I still have to go through a lawsuit. I still have a lawsuit that President Trump is a party to with this Eric Coomer guy. It's kabuki theater. Absolute nonsense, right? It should have been thrown out at hello. We have enough information that there shouldn't be a court in any competent jurisdiction that would even consider this a case we should even talk through. But I also know that there's a process to everything. So I'm going to continue to walk that process, do what's necessary. I'm going to get on this show and talk to you about what I know and what I don't know. And so for those of you that said, Joe, you were a little off on Monday. Yeah, I was, because Monday was a tough day for me. Monday I had to sit on here and talk to you guys about Israel and kind of work the problem. One of the things that I'm really, really good at is telling you when I'm in conflict. So I'm working the problem in real time. And I literally going through the motions in my brain, like, okay, is it right? Is it wrong? Is it good? Is it bad? And sometimes I don't land on the right. I don't land on double green zeros, right? Or black or red, and understand which side is the right side. And so I usually at that point just tell you what I'm thinking and then get to it and then bring someone like Halsey on to tell me what he thinks, and then I can just go back to reading and figure out what's good and what's bad. So I'm headed to caucus to meet with a bunch of great people. I'm going to do a quick video that I send out to the caucuses I can't attend. I'm pretty excited about what's happening. I will tell you that I'm getting, the mean girls from a certain candidate. His name is Vaughn Kennedy. Yeah. And this person keeps asking me questions like, you said you answer questions. I have a question for you. It has been said that you are paying Darcy, Corey Kennedy, and Ryan Schuling and others. Can you confirm that is false? And I'm like, I don't pay anybody. I don't pay anybody to be my friend. I don't pay anybody on my campaign. Why? Because we either want to save the country or we don't. And I don't tell people what to do. I don't tell people what to think. I give you an idea of what I think, and then I respect where you are on where your opinion is. I accept you where you are and not where I want you to be. So I said I've never paid anyone a single dollar, never paid anyone, nor I've ever met with or asked anyone, including these people, to work or anything related to Victor Marx, my campaign, or otherwise anything to do with the history of Victor Marx or his closet of bad deeds. I've never looked into Victor or paid anyone, paid attention to the info on Victor Marx until he lied about me quite clearly. I addressed it last night with Trent. I told him to clean up the lies and apologize. He said he would, but we will see. So the same person says, how often do you talk to Darcy or Corey Kennedy? So it's not going to show up on your financials that Darcy worked for you, Corey Kennedy, Ryan Schuling. And so I said, you want to ask the question 2, 3, 4 different ways. None of your business who I talk to. None of your business how often I talk to them. I do not pay people to represent me or to look into others. Now, this is a person that is obviously connected to Victor Marx. And these people have a thirst for attacking anyone that would even remotely look in the direction of Victor Marx. Here's what I would say. If you're that hell-bent on creating lies about other people based on conjecture or what people say that is not true, because it was said last night, then you're a fool. You're a low IQ, uninformed, retarded voter. That's what you are. And if you think that somewhere along the line that you can't look into the man who changed his name at, I guess, 19 or 20 years old, whatever it was, and has a lot of questions to be answered. If you don't extend the same grace to other people as you expect to be extended to a candidate that has massive issues, then I don't know what to say to you. And here's what I would tell you. if the establishment doesn't want a candidate, and the Democrats are afraid of a candidate, and the Republicans are afraid of a candidate, and you got a guy that has to lie about that candidate, me, so significantly, and won't get on a debate stage with me, and won't have a conversation with me, then you might have an intelligence candidate on your hand. You might. And I will tell you that we are headed towards a very, 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 very difficult time if we do not actually recapture our government in Colorado, gut it like a pig, cut the budget by 40, 50% overnight, turn all the faucets off, and get to a place where we restore order and give back the voice of the people to the people. If we don't do it, this state will be in a place where you have never seen the number of people that will leave the state. You have never seen the number of people that will start looking at the leadership for what they are, and that is absolute 100% corrupt betrayers. And the rules will change. The rules will change because people will have nothing to lose. You'll back them into a corner, and then they'll do some things. They'll have to do, forced to do bad things to really bad people. I hope it never happens. But right now, the government is pretty well rotted out. Okay. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. You can go to Rumble if you want. They do everything they can to stop me. We're also on X and on untamednation.com. Go there, give us a 5-star review, do all that stuff. Make sure you share it. You're the ambassadors of truth. And I just appreciate you doing and being with us today. Who else we got in here? Health update. How was your surgery? So surgery's Monday. Yeah. Charlie says, I love Israel, don't like the bad Jews. Well, yeah, I would agree with you. And that's what me and Halsey were talking about, is that, that somewhere along the line we got to be able to separate bad people from good people, because there are bad people in everything. They just seem to be in charge in a lot of different ways. But we'll get through that as well. I wonder if Barron will be drafted much. I don't know. We'll see. I hope they don't have a draft, but I think they might. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Let's pray it out, shall we? Father God, thank you for the time we can have here together. Thank you for the amazing guests that we've had. Thank you for President Trump. Thank you for the leadership that he operates with, where he exudes both wisdom and courage. Father, thank you for the blessings that we've had in our lives and the lives that we've led, even with the trials that we seem to have to go through on a normalized basis. Father, give us the ability to have clear eyes, that we can see what's happening in front of us, that we can contribute to this restoration, and that we can get to a place where we're willing to fight with courage against the evil that has tried to infiltrate and steal the very ethos, the very meaning of what it means to be an American, or even just humanity as a whole globally. Help us, Father, that we may lean into this time and do what is right and stand up. So to speak truth and to act with that truth, and to make sure that whenever we feel like we're getting ungrounded, that we can bring those things back to you and share those things with you. Help us, Father, that we may interpret things to happen the way they should be interpreted, and be patient, even though I'm the most impatient person there is. Help me, Father, to give people grace while making sure that I just kind of let go of the anger that I may have, so I can get to a place where we can really work and solve these problems we face today. I ask these things, Father, humbly in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. You guys have a great evening. We'll see you soon. Remember to share us in every which way, and we'll see you on the other side. God bless you.
Rising from the fight for the forgotten and the free, exposing shielding truth from corrupt halls, but he won't back down, standing tall through it all. Martin, Tina, Peters break the chains that bind her tight. Hand count votes and one day bring the fraud to light. No more mailing scams, no machines to steal the night. Restore the people's voice, make Colorado right. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the bloated state, let the people have their say. It's our rally call. Truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud we'll be. One man for the people, set our great state free. Help the single moms, bring back trade school strong. Opportunity for youth, where the brave belong. Audit every NGO, ban the wolves that roam. Reclaim our stolen land, bring the power home. Eric Kuma's fraud dominions, rig design, expose the stolen votes, cross a dangerous line. No more victimhood, no chains on you and me. He's running for governor for real liberty. Smash the fraud machine, pardon heroes jailed for the have-nots. Rising truth will never fail. One warrior defies the corrupt elite. Colorado reborn, strong on our feet. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the bloated state, let the people have the say. Governor Oltmann, it's our rally call. Truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud we'll be. One man for the people, set our great state free. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Governor Oltmann, freedom forever, Colorado rise. Governor Rise up untamed, in the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the nights. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, forever strong.